Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna take a quick moment here. My name is Julianne Duffy, and we are live tonight from the Del Mar.
Our place has been PFAS
Oh, back up. Sorry.
I care a lot about what goes in my body.
Peninsula.
Delmarva Peninsula?
Delmarva Peninsula. I can say that. So thank you for tuning in, and we will get right into it. It is Wednesday, September the 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and this evening we're going to explore the 31 Atlas Comet that a lot of people have been speaking about and talking about. So we'll get into that. So if you're joining after the live, perfect. If you're joining with me with the live, awesome. Please do introduce yourself, and we'll get right into it. So why am I talking about this? Now, first off, because it's come up in a few things that I've been watching, and there's been a lot of conversation where there's either a lot of fear about this new comet, which we've seen related to other comets, or also the idea that it's really not important. Where what I've really determined is we're in between. Like, it's not just nothing, but it's not something to be fearful. So it's this like middle lane is what this is. Okay, so let's get into it. So that's why I'm really talking about it. And the system that I've been using and testing really pointed out that this is something that I should be talking about and bring out for whoever is supposed to see it. So it really aligned with something that I am to vocalize and talk about and put clarity on, that this is not fearful. It's not a nothing. It's assisting humanity through this transition. So it's not nothing, but it's not something to be scared or fearful of as well. Okay, let's jump into it. So if we look at the past events with comets, especially, we have like 1994, there was a shoemaker one. Hi, Kristen Jackson. Thank you for joining me. That one was really on Jupiter. And for what that kind of did for us as humanity is it was witnessing on a planetary scale the destruction of cosmic vulnerability. So maybe that the idea that we were somehow invulnerable to things that are cosmically out of there. Good morning, Raj. Thank you for joining me. Then in 1997, we have the Hale-Bopp that came. And this is really and this one really did fuel a lot of fear back then. It was cult-inspired. We had the Heaven's Gate. And it really did also seed a lot of curiosity about where we were going in space and the different signs. Well, these are the idea with this. I'm not sure how to say your last name. I apologize, but you'd have a question. So basically, did I think? No, it was seeding. These are the seeding events. We're going to get to this current time and the 31 Atlas. But I wanted to kind of go backwards to some of the more important seeds over the last 30, 40 years. So then we come to 2017, which was then that Umanuma, oh my gosh, I probably said that wrong. And that was the first interstellar visitor. So that one really sparked speculation about alien technology and seeded ideas that Earth is definitely not isolated if it wasn't kind of built from that other time in that other event, from the comets previously. Then we've got 2019, and there was a 2I Borisova, I believe. And that's also it was quieter, but validated a lot of the interstellar energy and that it was really occurring. So now we're coming with this messenger, which is the 31 Atlas. And it's not just science, but it's also, there's a lot of symbolic things that are overlapping with it. So when we get into this now, like for September, which is where we are, this is opening with a lot of major alignments that frame with the 31 Atlas. So this is more than an astrological event is really what that's pointing to, okay? Then we have the sun in Virgo, trine Pluto in Capricorn. So it's a systematic transformation, endings that feel really necessary. So this is also bringing and going through during this energy. We've got Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, which really is the truths hidden in plain sight, which a lot of that stuff is coming out in plain sight. And a lot of media fragmentations and sudden revelations. That's what that's related to. And then we have our eclipse season, which is late September, which is accelerating our exposure, collective visibility, heightens emotional charge. So really what we're seeing is when this energy, this comet is coming through, it is also symbolic because the timing is all about endings, beginnings, disruptions of normalcy, and cosmic reminder that humanity isn't alone. Now, there is some dates that do affect us because it's interesting because as I've been going through this system that I've been creating, it has pulled up that some of the interesting events will align in this time period that overlap with the atlas coming through. So in my own personal charts, my husband's, as well as my mother and my father's, there's some interesting events that show up during this alignment. And so I wanted to point out what we're looking at, and then also based on what generation you're in and what year periods, between October 29th till November 6th is really when the average person is going to have an experience, like something that is dreams and unsettlements, maybe more 3D interactions per se. Like this is a very vital time, but it's not going to affect everybody exactly at the same time. So with how it's looking is that boomers, so if you're like the older generations from 64 older than that, their period is going to be October 26th to 29th, where they're going to be the most energetically affected by this. It might feel for some of them destabilizing, like all the old narratives are crumbling, and they may have the most difficult adjustment to the energies that are coming that align astrologically with this comet. Then we get the generation X, so that would be like from 1980, between 1965 to 1980-ish. For them, it's going to be October 30th till November 3rd. That's going to be their time period where they're going to feel it the most. And that might activate some survival instincts. They can also be decoding symbolism and hold maybe the paradox of what they're now seeing roll out. And then we're going into the millennials, so that's 1981 to 96-ish. They're going to be kind of polarized, and this is going to feel, the time frame for them is November 2nd to 6th. They may feel some panic, but others are going to see that it's their purpose and there's a new flow with it. And then we get into like 2012 and like between the 1997 to like currently, like both the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, and they are not really going to feel much. Like it's not really going to feel normal to them. It's going to feel more like they're already integrated, but anything that they do feel for this will be affected November 5th to 9th time period. Oh, speaking, this has made a little tickle in my throat. I find that interesting. So that gives you kind of an idea of the time frame of where this may affect you, depending on where you're at. But of course, your own alignments and charts are going to play into how this rolls out in your life, right? So like how it appeared for each of the family members I was looking at was a little different. Like for myself, it was very symbolic, very much about dreams and about very vivid messages coming that way during that time frame. For my husband, it was really the energy showing more of like he's going to see something in the skies. Like a lot of people are seeing things. So it's going to be more of that energetic setting. They're just going to see things possibly more in this layer of this reality, the living layer. And then with my mom and her husband, it was again a little different for each of them. So it's very interesting on what this is going to activate. And the idea is really that this is an activation center because this comet coming through it's just bringing more of that change energy that's already happening and more of the questioning of who we really are as humanity. So we gently go through each of the major astrological time frames from this point is really from September 9th. We've got Sun trine Pluto. So we've got a Virgo Capricorn, transformation of systems, dissolving the old structures. So the things that don't fit what's going forward is we're seeing more of that, right? But that's like that energy is very amplified when we get to the 9th of September. Then we jump, which I thought was interesting, to the next major energetic date, which was more around September 18th based on my systems. So that's 9 days later. So that was an interesting thing. And that's when we get Jupiter retrograde in Gemini square in Pisces. So that's truth versus illusion. So that's really that idea again with the media fractures, confusions are peaking during that time. again, interestingly enough, what was then picked out of my system was at 11 days later. So we have something from 9 days, from September 9th to 18th is 9 days. Then we have from September 18th to September 29th, which is 11 days. So I thought it was interesting, the 9, then 11 on that kind of numbering between those dates. But then we get to the 29th as mentioned, and then that's a solar eclipse in Libra. So this is really bringing up the collective shadow, fear, polarity is heightened. So these are the energies that are being activated right now as we go into September. Then the next noted time is 18 days later, going into October 17th to 20th time frame. And that's when we have the 31 Atlas actually goes behind the sun. So now it's not going to be seen. So it, again, it's going to also, it aligns with heightened anxiety and uncertainty. So then we jump to the next one, again, is 11 days later. It's actually October 3rd, 11 days later, I just noticed was October 31st, which is traditionally known as like the thinnest veil days, which I thought was interesting on that 11 days after that, we've got, again, an energy of veil starting to loosen, which also overlaps from the 29th to the 6th when we're going to feel this the most individually and have whatever experience aligns with this beautiful cosmic comet coming through and what that represents for us, right? But then we jump to the 14th of November and we're in the lunar eclipse of Taurus, which is really brings up a collective financial and emotional release. And then when we get into the beginning of December, that's when 31 Atlas reemerges as very symbolic. And it's going to feel like a lot of people will have a awakened ingrainment and have been, you know, from the experiences they had between the end of October and beginning of November, there'll be this digestion as we come into the December period, at the beginning of the December. So that's really what the energies are. So, you know, there's a lot of fear, and that was the purpose, is to bring that this is not about fear. It's that we are going through this change, and the energies interestingly align with this comet coming through, and it's very serendipitous. It's like too coincidental, really. And it's really that we've seen comets as omens in the past, which do bring a lot of change, right? There's been fear, war. Great change happens when comets come by, especially ones that are unknown. Like this one has some things that have been pointed out as being very different and very unknown compared to what we've considered as normal. It's symbolic as well. Like this is really, on the symbolic end, is a mirror for us. Awakening comets reminds us that we are part of the vast comets, cosmos, the astrology, the things above, right? That we're connected. You know, we're connected, and that's the remembering. So if you are going through this time, you know, some takeaways is to get good in your practice, whether it's the meditation, breath work, you know, your journaling, connecting to nature, being with other people in a community. Do those things that heal your soul during this time, especially if if you're struggling with it, depending on the generations and your own charts. So I wanted to pull one card before I end this, because it was all really about informing and giving a perspective that was not about fear-based, but really kind of overlapping with what the astrology aligns with, and the interestingness and how interesting it matches with this cosmic, you know, comet visitor that we're getting. So let's pull for, what's our message? What is the divine message in relation to the 31 Atlas? What would the guides think is important for us to know as we start to go through these more interesting energies, starting right away here in September? I think this is very, very interesting. We got portal. Portal is our energy. Again, weirdly ironic, coincidental, don't really know, but it's doors are opening, you decide, rewards, wild card. So this confirms exactly what the message I am saying about this is, that this is opening portals. You know, a lot of the generations, this is going to be that ability to step through into something new, and we're going to see really that deeper level of the endings and the beginnings coming, and then on a mass scale, we're going to have more energetic downloads, experiences, and it's really this heightened period between the 29th of October till the 9th of November, depending on the group. So that is the message to take away, with the idea the 31 Atlas is not here to punish us or save us. It is really the mirror for us as humanities and to help us catalyst to the next generation, which is going to be like, we were already aware for it. They were already ready. Like everybody under 2012, this is a no big deal for that generation. It's really mirroring us to change into where we're going to go. Each generation, we have a different experience of difficulty and transition into, and with this energy as it comes. But it's really inviting us to level up. That's the point. Clarity, awakening, rather than go into that fear of what is coming and the change that's happening. So adding that level of trusting that this portal energy that we are being guided through is divinely guided and is being supported on the mass. So that is the end of the message. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Witch Hunter, for your question. I am not actually a professional chart. I am actually using a system of where the system helps me pull it and giving me these translations, and I dive deep into it, and I'm doing my own spin of interpretation based on the system I'm currently creating, which combines charts, which is Vedic, Western, numerology, astrocartology, when appropriate, is then merged in through a system that uses all the numbers to give an energetic astrology alignment. And then I'm using that with my own intuitive card readings and my own readings of what the system is giving me to relay these messages. So the idea is that it's a more holistic approach to, is Western better? Is Vedic better? Is numerology better? Is human design better? And it's like, they're not. They're all really great tools. And what I'm working on right now is, my personal belief is that we can utilize all these tools collectively to see really where the main energy sits, because if there's lots of overalignment between these types of systems, obviously that's really where you want to be headed towards. So that's like the big lightning rod of where the information or the energy is heading. So that is what I'm working on. But if you have specific questions, feel free to message me if you'd like your own reading with this system of how this will specifically affect you as you go through this transit. Go to my website, you can message me directly there, and I'm happy to do that. I will be updating it soon so you can go on, and if you want to book one directly, it's not quite there, but it will be put on in the next week or so. So thank you again for joining me. Take this message, go forward, allow this time to be a transition time, that this is really a lot of learning, and this comet is not a savior, is not something to be scared of, but it's also not meaningless. It arrives in this weird, interesting timing that is just part of pulling the frequency and the resonance as we transition through this period of change. And that is the takeaway. So have a beautiful, beautiful night. I will be live on Sunday. So if you come with your questions, if you do have a personal question, I will answer those at the end of the reading for the week, which will be going over the charts on each of the specific days coming into the week and pull a card. And then at the end, we will be pulling questions for anybody that is live in the audience. So thank you. Please do subscribe so you know when I'm going to go live. And I appreciate your time. Have a beautiful night.